We're here on the last Sunday of July. How did this happen? Well, I'm trusting that hopefully many of you are feeling more prosperous today than you were at the beginning of the month, because that's what our whole theme has been for this month of July, is prosperity. And as I shared in the Thought for the Week, the definition of prosperity is the condition of enjoying wealth, success, or good fortune. How many of us want that? Does that sound like a good thing in life? I think so. And as I put in the Thought for the Week, if we think prosperity is all about accumulating money and material things, we have missed the mark, i.e. sinned, on what true prosperity is all about. Because first and foremost, we are spiritual beings. Spiritual beings. And yes, we have decided to house that spiritual energy temporarily in this physical body, in this physical form. And it is temporal. This body is made to have an expiration date. It's funny, I was talking to somebody a while ago now, and they had had a reaction. They didn't know they were allergic to something. And all of a sudden he was talking to his wife, and he just kind of went comatose. And she had to call 911, and they had to revive him and all this business. And the doctor just said, just kind of matter-of-factly, well, you almost expired on us. And I thought that was an interesting term. I guess there is an expiration date on all of us, isn't there? But it's interesting because I was also talking to another friend this week who is concerned because he's going on a houseboat trip. And he has a 2-year-old that doesn't swim. And now he's becoming frantic, because they had him in swimming classes, but he really hasn't mastered swimming yet. And so now he's kind of getting apprehensive. Do you think we should go? What if? We can lock him in our room at night because he's up and about, but in the morning, what if he just says, I guess I could just put that little swim thing on him at the very, very beginning of the day. Do you think I'm being over cautious? Oh, maybe we shouldn't go. And I said, well, honestly, you can do the very best you can do. Yes, put the little thing on him first thing in the morning. But I believe there are no accidents in life. I believe that everybody comes into this earth experience at the right and perfect time, and they will leave this earth experience at the right and perfect time. So don't be concerned, don't be worried. Go for it, have a fun vacation. And just know that, God and Spirit, do your prayers. I said, do your prayers. Ask for the angels to come in for protection and such. But really, this earthly body does have an expiration date. But our true self, our wholeness, this being that we are, is eternal, is infinite. And once we really get that, then we can accept that, right, okay, one of these days, I will lay down this earthly suit. And guess what? I'll be up for a new adventure. Wonder what it'll be. And I know I won't be alone in it. There will be lots of other energies that I will be surrounding myself with. How many of you have been playing with our 21-day meditation that started this last week with Deepak and, what did I say? Yeah, okay. And Oprah and Deepak, there's a 21-day meditation. It's very simple to do. Highly recommend it. This time, he always has like a focus, for it. This time it's on the law of attraction. And as I'm listening to it, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this dovetails so much into what we're talking about this month as prosperity. It's so much the same thing because, we've been reading Charles Fillmore's book, Prosperity, and he goes into prosperity in that deep sense of substance, that prosperity is literally all about our ethereal being, what we are truly inside, not the outer material human stuff so much. But one of the comments that Oprah made this last week that I made a note of, she quoted Gary Zukov. And in fact, I took a mental note, and next month we will be highlighting The Seat of the Soul, Gary Zukov's book. It's been a year since I've done it, and it's time to bring it back again. So it just kind of inspired me to bring that back. But the quote she said was, when your personality, which is your human self, that's my take on it, when your personality serves what your soul, your spiritual self, came here to do, that's real power. When our personality, when our human self supports and serves what our divine spiritual self wants, wow, we can't be stopped. Not at all. Now, remember that we do have these wonderful human desires. We have these wonderful goals that we wish to achieve as a human, as a personality. You know, we want to buy the new car. We want to have the house. We want to have the career, whatever the case might be. But those literally are on the edge, so to speak. Really what we want, our heart's desire, is to fulfill this energy that we are in our own perfect, unique way. Now, one of the things that I believe we all need to address, time and again, because for whatever reason, many of us have put on this clothing, Lord knows why, for whatever reason, as we've grown up, and we have been wearing these clothes of unworthiness. And one of the areas that he talked about this last week was the fact that whatever your desires are, remember desire is of the Father, whatever your desires of your heart are, you are worthy of them. That you can have them. It's okay. You know why? Because we are that goodness. We are God, goodness in expression. We are love in expression. That's what we want to do. And so this rampant dis-ease that we have of unworthiness has to go. That's all. Let it go. It's not serving anyone at all. There is one power and presence within each one of us. We are all connected. We are all one. We all know that I want happiness, I want joy, I want peace, I want fulfillment. That's what everybody else wants. We're no different. We're all the same in that regard. I wanted to share with you something that I remembered to bring up to the podium this morning from Eileen Cady. And because it's, again, another little lesson to remind us. It says, wake up and live. Live that full and glorious life which is your true heritage. Be afraid of nothing. You have within you all wisdom, all power, all strength, and all understanding. Pluck out the weeds of doubt, fear, and uncertainty, so that they cannot choke the beautiful garden deep within you. And the very best is allowed to grow in true freedom and perfection. Realize that which is within, so that is reflected without. You cannot hide it, no matter how hard you may try to do so. If there is chaos and confusion within you, it will be reflected in the outer world by the way you look, the way you behave, by the things you do, and by what you have around you. You cannot hide what is within, no matter how hard you try. When your thoughts are of the highest, beauty and perfection are reflected without. You are like a mirror which has been highly polished. Nothing can remain hidden. This is why in our prosperity class this week and the last couple weeks, we have been working on decluttering. We have been working on letting go, looking at the beliefs that we've been carrying and the stuff that we've been carrying. And this homework that we had this last week, we made a long list of all these things, And then we only had to pick out 3 things that we were going to do this week to get accomplished, and that letting go. Now, the class is tomorrow night. I have some folks here that are in the class. I wonder if your homework's done yet. I have done mine. I will say I've got one more piece that I'm doing today. I wrote it down, and I will get that piece done. But it's so important that we remember that this life is creative. That means it's always fresh, always new. And when we carry this baggage of our stuff that we hold on to, that we just can't let go of because, one day I might need it. One day I might be that size. Again. I know I'm going to read that book one more time. Yeah. So I'm supposed to clear off a bookshelf of stuff that, can be moved along. I haven't done that one. Actually, I haven't done I've only done one of them. I think about it. Oh, wait, I don't even know. And I'm cleaning out your car. One of them, the easy one, was, I'm going to the car wash today. It said that was okay to do that. But when we're recognizing that, just getting rid of the stuff, clearing out, what she's talking about, how I chose that reading is because you cannot hide what you are, because it is reflected in your life. And that's why it is so important to keep clean, to keep ourselves clean. And one of the areas I think that is most important that holds us back, it's very subtle, is that of forgiveness. We're reading in our prosperity class Edwin Gaines, and she's way into forgiveness. If you are in any kind of a debt situation, that means you haven't done all your forgiveness work. And so forgiveness is one of those things that frees us, lets us go of whatever this thing is that we were so angst about that happened in the past, that I did it wrong or they did it wrong, or this judgment thing. And just to let it go. Oh, by the way, my purple wristband, this purple wristband says no complaining for 21 days in a row. Well, I'll have you know, and I'm going to share this with the folks in the class that are here. We had this discussion about, well, what if you just have this exclamation that just comes out? It's just one word. It's not really a complaint, it's more like an automatic response thing. And so the point is, does that really count? And I said, well, technically, yeah, it really should count. And then we had another discussion, but we're so mindless that it comes out before we even hear it, think it. And I said, well, that's the reason why it needs to be thought out. It needs to be mindful. Now, I'm very proud of myself. I'm on day 4. But I'm ignoring the initial blurt outs. I am. I'd never be on day 1 otherwise. And the rest of you, go for it. Come on. Honestly, though, if there is really a complaint, if there's really, and a complaint means that you want something different than the way it is. So just think about that. Yeah, how many times a day? When we speak about prosperity, a lot of it has to do with this idea of money, the energy of money. Because even in the definition, it said wealth, having wealth, which means money. One of the companies that I work with in my financial arena calls themselves a wealth management company. I thought, oh, that sounds really cool, a wealth management company. And I was reading a story about a city boy, who was named Morris. And Morris had an interesting angle on wealth management. You see, Morris moved to the country, and he bought a donkey from an old farmer for $100. And the farmer agreed to deliver the donkey the next day. Well, the next day, the farmer drove up and said, "Sorry, but I got some bad news. The donkey died." And Morris said, "Well, that's fine. Just give me my money back then." "Well, I can't do that because I already spent it." "Okay, just unload the donkey then." "What are you going to do with him?" "I'm going to raffle him off." "You can't raffle off a dead donkey." "Sure I can. Watch me. I just won't tell anyone he's dead." A month or so later, the farmer met up with the city boy and asked, "Whatever happened with that dead donkey?" "I raffled him off. I sold 500 tickets at $2 apiece and made a profit of $998. Didn't anyone complain?" "Just the one guy who won, so I gave him back his $2." Now, that's making lemonade out of lemons. However, it is also, to me, placing yourself in that arena of what we call karma. Because if you're not being fully forthright, well, I just won't tell anybody he's dead. That energy will come back around. He might be thinking that he's wealthy at the moment. But remember, our spiritual intentions are what really drives our experiences in life. So when we try to make someone, believe something that's not real, I mean, honestly, it was a lie. Even though he wasn't saying that, he wasn't divulging the whole truth, it was really a lie. And we know what happens in those kind of cases. It's also interesting the fact that when you look at the farmer, how could he have spent the guy's $100 and felt good about that, and just said, "Well, you're out, buddy"? So it's an interesting dilemma that we always have ourselves in, as to which way are we going to respond to what happens to us in life. Wealth management is a good one, but be careful of how you advertise it. Fillmore tells us that about money is that substance in the form of money is given to us for constructive uses. It is given for use and to meet an immediate need, not to be hoarded away or be foolishly wasted. Money is to be used, not abused. It is good to keep one's obligations paid. It is good to have some money on hand for good uses, such as hospitality, education, and for developing industries that will contribute to the good of numbers of people, for the furtherance of spiritual work, for helping others to build useful and constructive lives. Money saved for rainy days is always used just for that, for fear attracts that which is feared unfailingly. The thing which I feared has come upon me. Money saved as an opportunity fund brings an increase of good, but money hoarded from fear as a motive or with any miserly thought in mind cannot possibly bring any blessings. So again, it's interesting that our intention, why am I saving money? In case something's going to happen. If something's happening. But I love that. We're going to save for an opportunity fund. And when he wrote these things, it was in the early 20th century, it was 1920s or whatever it was. And I loved it was for good uses such as hospitality. See, I think it's always good to spend money on parties. I think that's one of the best ways to spend money. And so consider that as you are a good steward of your money, how you are spending it. Wisely, in the right manner, and not overdoing it, not hoarding it, and doing it for constructive purposes. Remember that our thought attracts. So the thought we want to start with is plenty, 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 plenty. I always have what I have need of at every moment, all the time. In one of the 21-day meditations, the centering thought on day 6 was, my attention activates my desires. So we get our desire, but it's really our attention that focuses that desire to come forth. And, Michael Beckwith's definition of meditation is undistracted attention to reality. Undistracted attention to reality. So if you have your attention on reality, no matter what you're doing, you're meditating. You're communing with the One. But he said, though, if you come to meditation, you have to have 2 qualities that associate with it. And that is earnestness and sincerity. So every time we're communing with the One in this spiritual realm, we need to bring our earnestness and sincerity. That's that energy that will draw to us what we have need of at all times. I don't know where I came across it, but some little thing I read, and I wrote it down, put it on my refrigerator. Anybody else ever do that? So it says, I replace drama and instant judgment, those that come out of our mouth. I replace drama and instant judgment with an energy of peace and love. With an energy of peace and love. If we put our attention on the drama game, the universe says, oh, you want to play that game? I will give you more. What we are is love and peace and joy. That's exactly what we are. Fillmore says, the real object of life is not making money or becoming famous, but the building of character, the bringing forth of the potentialities that exist in each one of us. We are not studying prosperity to become rich, but to bring out those characteristics that are fundamental to prosperity. It's going within with earnestness and sincerity as to what is it that my own personal identity, this personality that I am, how does it want to show up today? As fullness, as joy, as completeness, as wholeness. One of the things that Deepak gave us is a bullet point list. The way that we can bring our desires, our heart's desires, into reality. They are, have a clear intention. What does your heart really want? Have a positive emotion about that desire. How does it make you feel? Believe your desire is good for you. That's your worthiness. Know you are worthy of it. Believe your desire is good for you. Be prepared and flexible for what the universe brings. And be confident hidden forces will come to your aid. That's the faith that Fillmore talks about. There is so much energy around us that is infinite and just waiting to give us what we need, what we have, what we want. I'm asking you this week to invoke those angelic forces more often than just for the parking places. It works, and it always does. I mean, whenever we go into, San Diego, when we go to Balboa Park, or you go anywhere, where you need that parking place, and it can be challenging. So, that's right, it's time to call in the parking angels. Well, why don't I do that with all these other things in life? Why do I just wait for parking angels? There's lots of other angels out there right now, on duty, waiting to be called and to be trusted. Let's know this flexibility of this energy that is all around us wants to play with us, wants to give us what we have need of. We want to know our worth. Each of us is worthy of having this beautiful, prosperous life in all of its unending stuff. And we can let go of all those things that no longer serve us. All that clutter, let it go. And we can breathe. For whatever reason, one of Lorna Bright's songs was coming to mind this morning, so I just wanted to close with it. And if you remember it, we used to sing it here. If you remember it, you can join me. I am necessary. I am an open channel for God to use my talents to do what only I can do. And as I shine my light, I am abundantly blessed. I am necessary. I am an open channel for God to use my talents to do what only I can do. And as I shine my light, I am abundantly blessed. And you are too. Namaste. Namaste.